Hello and welcome back to Utterly Unfiltered with Tash and
Cara. Hey guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
2025.
This is our first episode
Wow.
recording in 2025. How exciting.
Ooh. Yep. We have got it.
As you can tell, we're a little bit out of practice.
Wow.
We've not recorded since November, so this is...
And it shows.
It's
My
been
goodness.
2 whole months.
Right? And that's been a busy couple of months for us both.
Really,
It's
really.
been-
Honestly, a blur. Like, where
I'd
has
say.
the time gone? But it does feel like so long ago that we were recording the last one, so we have to get back into the swing of it.
Yeah, we'll just warm up a little bit. Warm up.
Exactly.
Bear with us, guys. We are sitting here in Tasha's very, very cozy favourite Christmas gift.
Yes.
My Taya hat.
My cozy
And
little
I love
blanket.
it.
So
But I
nice,
feel
isn't
like
it?
I could just like snuggle up and
Well,
fall
that's
asleep.
not a good thing because we've got 6 of these to crack out. So
You could do them solo. You don't fancy that?
no,
While I
absolutely
have some
not.
power
No.
naps?
I
Okay.
wonder, does it ruin the magic that we tell you that we batch all of our content, or do you not really
Yeah,
care?
but like this is unfiltered. So we can't exactly lie.
No,
Be like,
it's
hey
true.
guys, we're unfiltered, and then we did actually though. Okay, confession time.
Yeah.
We did when we went into this. We were like, let's pretend that we're doing it every other week, like every different week. So we had like outfit changes and everything.
Yeah.
Now we're just like, oh my god.
No,
I've
actually CBA.
just 2 cups of coffee and a blanket, and we're good.
And we just crack on. To be fair though, I think it's a testament to how good we are at yapping. The fact that we can just consistently yap for 6 or 7 hours and get out so much content and literally be fine. Like, oh,
Well, no, we're not fine, are we? Like, by the end of this, we're normally, like, frazzled. We don't want to speak to each other or anyone because, like, our voices are going. Last time we were here, we had a little bit of liquid inspiration. That was fun. But that last episode that we did, did you actually release it? The wine and juice
I did,
podcast
yeah. It was
episode.
definitely not our best episode.
I'm not
that's for sure.
surprised.
Like, no, it really wasn't. Well, Cara's doing dry January.
I am.
Yeah, so we won't have one of those. I know there's people outside my house. It's actually the woman who's thinking of renting it after us. So
Oh, is she doing, like, a little...
she must be showing her friend around.
Should
I'm
we-
like, timing wise, I'm just not going to
Should we,
engage.
should we open the door and be like, do you
Do you want to join our
podcast?
podcast?
Surprise guest.
I
Surprise
know.
to everyone, including them.
I literally am like, if we weren't recording right now, I'd be like, oh, do you want to come have another look or anything? But
No, we're dedicated.
I'm not doing that because we've got 6 of these to crack out, so I
do.
can't help you, okay,
Yeah,
woman?
goodbye.
Goodbye. You just snoop around outside my house as much as you
That's
like.
so
Just don't
creepy.
come in. You know?
No binoculars. We draw the line at binoculars.
Anyways,
Okay.
today's episode, as you can see, we're in a good mood, and that's a good thing because today's
thing.
episode is all about how to become obsessed with your life.
Ooh.
It is Blue Monday today, guys, as you are listening to this.
Is
And
that an official thing?
well, I think technically speaking, it's actually not about your emotions, it's about something else. I can't remember what it is. I wonder if I can find out.
Ooh.
It's I don't know where my phone is. Oh, it's here. I'm gonna look it up.
She's inspecting the ceiling
Is
as
she?
we speak.
Oh god.
Yeah, she's... And defo taking some photos there.
I was just in here with our
It's
microphones.
fun.
I wonder if she's like, what
Wow.
are they doing in there? Luckily, I do have like cafe curtains, so
Yeah.
you can't see like directly into the house, but you unless you're really
It's
tall.
It's two people.
I know. I'm guessing that she's brought a friend to like check out the house. I hope she does rent it. She seemed very sweet.
Oh.
Right, Blue Monday. Monday. So it says the name given by a UK travel company. That's why. So I knew it wasn't actually like to do with your emotions.
So it's like commercial.
Basically, it's the 3rd Monday of January, said to be the most depressing day of the year. The term originated from a 2005 travel company called Sky Travel, and the campaign aimed to sell holidays capitalizing on the post-Christmas blues.
So they invented the whole,
They invented the concept
most depressing day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, time is just a construct.
Exactly.
And I'm depressed always. So
However-
how can you tell me I'm just depressed today? No, I'm not. I'll take it back.
But the thing with the whole Blue Monday concept is that actually it does make a lot of sense in the sense of January is a very long month because it's 5 weeks and payday in December is like the 20th, and so you end up with like 6 and a bit weeks of no pay or of pay lasting. People are feeling broke, so they're sat inside all the time.
Great time
January
to sell.
feels so long.
It does.
So it's like you have so much longer to just I don't know, be in your feelings. And it's cold, unless you live obviously on the other side of the world, but it's cold and grim outside. I mean, look at this weather today. It's a grim day out there.
It's very grey.
Yeah, I don't know how our lighting is, if you can see it, if you can tell that it's a bit dimmer in here, but it's dark in this room, you know?
That makes sense. So, like, go to Mallorca.
Exactly. Cool. Get some summer sun.
Yeah.
So that's the concept. But I actually do think it has legs, even though it was made up like by somebody who was just trying to sell people stuff. Oh my God, is she still here?
She's back.
We're trying to record a podcast, women. Please stop looking around my house, okay? This is exhausting. Anyways, Cara, you've been on holiday. She's just been on the other side of the world. Lucky
I have,
bitch.
and it was warm and sunny and fun. Waves lapping at my feet as I lay on the fine white sand.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, and it was really depressing coming back, because obviously you're coming from like 30 degree heat to literally we were -5 the day I got back.
Oh my God.
Ice on the car.
Yeah.
Grey, dark. I was
that was like a couple weekend. It was last weekend. Yeah, last
severely
weekend.
jet lagged.
Really icy.
It was. Hey, it was insane. But it was an amazing trip. Yeah, Australia was the first leg, and stayed with family there, and that was about I think it was 2.5 weeks, maybe nearly 3, and then New Zealand just over a week. And New Zealand was stunning. Like, you've been to New Zealand, right?
I love New Zealand.
It only gave me a flavour, like it was not enough time. But just the diversity of the scenery was incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
did you go to any of the islands off of Auckland?
Wanted to, but time didn't allow, because we spent a couple of nights in Rotorua, which was where we did the Living Maori Village. Highly recommend.
So you did go to the islands off of it?
No, that's inland. That's inland Rotorua. No, the islands, there were a couple. One was like a wine farm, and I was really keen for that one. We just didn't have time. We need to go back. But
so one of my favourite islands off of Auckland is called Wahiki.
Yes, I've heard of that. Yeah. I think it is, yeah.
And I went, it was the results day of my first year of uni or something, and I was by myself. I was traveling by myself, and I went to that island for the day. Sorry, I'm just totally like not monopolizing this story now, but
no one wanted to hear about my travels anyway, so carry on.
I took the boat across to Wahiki, and I like went for a nice walk and everything. This was during their winter, because it was like July. And I went to this winery, and I was sat outside, and I had a glass of wine. I was just like, having a nice little day. And then I realized it was dark out, and I had to get back to the ferry port. And there's no like really, well, at least this was in like 2017 or 2016. So there was no regular buses. 2016 probably. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to walk back in the dark, and there are cars on this road, and I was like, I don't like that idea. It was like a 30-minute walk or something. And anyway, so there was a minibus outside the front of the winery, and I just went up to the guy, and I was like, I presumed that the minibus was gonna go back to the port, because people don't usually stay on there. I mean, I think there probably are Airbnbs, but it's not like hotels and stuff. So I just asked him, I was like, are you heading back to the port, and if so, can you give me a lift? And he was like, oh yeah, of course I can. It's lovely, because people are just so nice in New Zealand. So I got in, I was just chatting, and he was waiting for his group.
But also, like, don't get into cars with strangers.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't honestly do this.
But carry on. I wanted to caveat
I did just find that New Zealand just felt incredibly safe as a traveller. And I just did.
But you survived. This is good.
I survived to tell the story. Yeah, okay. It's true. I don't endorse getting into cars with strangers. But the story gets weirder, because who they were picking up was the health team of the Reds or something. I don't know. No. Okay, another Google, guys.
I don't know.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like how there's like England football team, but also Chelsea and Manchester. I think they do the same thing for rugby. Okay, this could be totally wrong.
No, they do, but I've just never heard of England and Wales combining on a team for rugby.
The Red Roses? No? I don't know. Anyways.
You know what? Now we're just shut up. We don't know anything about sport. Let's just move on.
We don't know anything about sport.
Let's carry on about your dodgy
whoever it was who was going to New Zealand to play I'm going to hope this is right, the All Blacks in New Zealand, right? Yes, I got that one right.
Nailed it.
They were going over, it was the 2016, whatever that massive rugby thing was, and they had the UK team, I don't know what you're going to call it.
England.
They went across to New Zealand, and anyways, it was the health team who looked after that team, so it was their physiotherapists and their dietitians and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
And who they were picking up. So they got in, and they were very rowdy. They'd obviously had a lot to drink, and they were joking around, and they were like, oh, come with us, we're going to an oyster bar. before they
No
go back to the
way.
port. The port was at like 8 p.m. or something, and they were like, well, first of all, let's go to an oyster bar. So we went to an oyster bar. I went with them. I was like, fuck it, whatever. I tried my first ever oyster. It was disgusting. It just tasted like garlic. And I shared a bottle of wine with this random woman who obviously bought it for me because I was like, I don't even know how old. I might have been like 19 years old.
And she's working for the
England
England
rugby
team.
like a 35-year-old working for the England rugby team, literally. And anyways, so then they were like, oh, come back with us. We're going to meet up with the rest of the team for like their like last night party. So I go with them.
Oh my god.
And I go up to this, like, I mean, I'm wearing muddy trousers. Like, I've been trekking all day, walking boots. I walk into this 5-star fancy-ass rooftop bar restaurant with the rest of these people. I have no makeup on, you know, like, just looking like trash again. With all these fancy dressed people, and go in and literally meet, like, all the rugby players. And I have no idea who any of them are. And, like, they're buying me drinks. And I'm watching them sing karaoke. And I'm having chats with these random people.
And New Zealand of all places.
I know, because they were flying out the next day because they'd been and they played. I think they lost. That they weren't celebrating, but they were celebrating because at least they got that far.
Yeah,
but you know, they
yeah.
definitely lost. I'm pretty sure. But they were flying home the next day. It was like that was their flight.
Unbelievable.
And one of them offered me his apartment. He was like, because they were if they'd won, they would have had to stay a week longer or something. And he was like, well, I've got my apartment for another week if you want it. I was like,
and you said
okay,
no.
thanks.
Jesus, I would have been like, yes, sure. Do you come with it?
I mean, I'll get into a van with a stranger, but I won't stay.
You won't
in their
live
apartment.
with a stranger. Okay. Well, you know, maybe that's this
It was honestly so ridiculous. And the problem is the massive shame about this is that I know nothing about rugby, as you can tell from this conversation.
Yeah, like
they gave me names like there's like a really famous British one who everyone fancies.
Owen Farrell?
Yes, I met him. I met
he's controversial though. I think he's actually been kicked off, or slash he no longer is in the team.
Yeah, well, this was 2016. It was a long time ago. I met literally so much, like, basically all of them. They were all there.
Wow.
Just like it was so ridiculous. So yeah, I'm sorry to anyone who actually likes rugby because it was totally wasted on me. But
they probably also appreciated the fact that you didn't know much. Like it's not like you were being one of those annoying fangirls and like getting them to sign shit. Like
I think it was the novelty of the fact that this random group of people had picked up this 19-year-old girl from a vineyard on an island and just brought her back with them. Like, what was going on there? It was so very cool. Funny. Anyways.
I actually really respect that. That is wicked. That is wicked. I would have definitely taken the apartment though.
I know. Well, I don't know. You know what it is? Again, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's the nuances in life, you know? I would have been scared that somebody had like a camera or something in that apartment, you know?
Yeah.
Which is so ridiculous because, again, got into a van with a stranger on an island in the dark. But I draw the line
at moving in. But that's fair. I feel like you're learning. You're learning.
So
you're not completely beyond logic of safety.
No.
So that's
no,
good.
I'm not. Anyways, that's my silly story. Sorry, I totally monopolised that conversation. I just had to tell it.
Is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn now.
Can I go?
Yes, you're allowed to.
Okay, cool. Mine doesn't seem as exciting now in comparison. I did not get into any vans with any strangers.
Good job.
Good for me.
Well done.
I know, love that for me. But I did also not meet any fun rugby players, and I would have actually enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, you would have known who they were.
I would have maybe known who some of them were. Yeah, so no, mine was great. It was beautiful.
What was the highlight of the trip?
Glowworms. Oh, I've learned so much about glowworms.
Tell me.
They are not actually worms. That is false.
Really?
Yeah, it's false advertising.
I didn't know that.
Lies. It's for tourism purposes. They're actually maggots, which glow maggots doesn't. It's not kind of the same ring.
No.
So no, and then all of the like luminescent stuff that's in them that makes them glow is like actually in their butt. So they're just these little maggots with like glowing butts. They live for something like, okay, don't fact check this because it's going to be wrong, but it's roughly like 2 months as a maggot. And then I think they transcend into to flies for like 2 days where they just breed like crazy and then die. It's like, what is the point? What is the point of you?
What is the point? Do they do anything for the cave that are they in a cave? I know this is a total guess here.
Typically they do because they're protected because they're predators, which would be like bats and other flying creatures, can't use echolocation to find them because they're too small. They don't really leave any sort of indent. And then also they have these little silk webs where they catch their prey.
So what is the
the
purpose
caves.
of them?
No, I just
There
they
isn't
don't have
any.
any. That's the
Wild.
like it's wild, and they eat each other. Sometimes they're cannibal glow maggots.
Right. And this is the highlight of your whole trip.
Okay, yeah, it is, and I'll tell you why. Because like just the pure novelty of the situation. Okay, so picture it's like 10:30 at night, way past my bedtime, and we're on this lake which is just completely dark, and there's like about 4 canoes with a tour guide who was from Scotland, interestingly.
Crazy.
And we are like stargazing. It was a super clear night. We were lucky. The visibility was amazing. And the water was super warm. So I had my hands in the water. We got some hot choc. We got some little marshmallows. Nice. Went into these caves, like kind of a little bit creepy because you can't see, right? So you've got head torches that shine like a red light because they can't be detected by the glowworms, but you turn them off when you go into the caves anyway, just because then you can see them better. The viewing is better. So you're kind of crawling, and then you're using your hands to like pull yourself within these caves because they're tiny little caves.
Oh my God.
This wasn't like the main.
Are you still in the canoe, or you got out?
We're still in the canoe. Yeah. No, we don't get out the canoe. Although the water's only about like I think it's only sort of up to your hips worth of depth.
So you're like crawling through the rocks.
Yeah, exactly. And you
canoe.
can't see a thing other than the glowworms. And then we got home at like, I think it was like, the tour, what time did it finish? Probably like 2 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
So it was late. But it was just like, I've never done something like that in my life and probably never will. So that's why I loved it. But the Living Maori village, in terms of the culture, was incredible.
Yeah.
And that's where they have the like geothermal pools. So the sulfur that comes from the depths of the earth, to the like sort of boiling point, and they don't operate on any electricity. They use these to cook their food. So we had like a little corn on the cob that they boiled in one of these pools.
That's crazy.
And apparently it's the most purest form of like cooking you'll ever find. Like what you taste is actually the flavor of what it is, because whereas everything else, even like boiling in water, apparently leaves some kind of flavor, some kind of taste that so that was cool. And then they also bath in it, because when it like runs further down the mountain, it cools down enough for them to bathe. So some of them have morning sunrise baths, whatever. Some of them have sunset and moonshine baths, and I'm just like, that is so cool. And it was incredible. Like, it's literally the earth is bubbling on the surface, and there's steam everywhere, and it's got a very distinctive smell, actually, very distinctive. As soon as you get into Rotorua, actually, where we went, you can smell the sulfur.
It smells like eggs, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not pleasant. You kind of adjust. You do
get used to after a while,
but it's fascinating. It's quite sad. I think the village used to have many more residents, but I think with social media and children wanting to, or young people wanting to go and kind of explore the world, and it's becoming
make
a bit
living
more,
in other ways.
yeah,
as well.
basically. So they leave. So there's only, I think, about 100 people. But it was really cool. That was the best cultural experience.
I love that.
Yeah, it was.
So
I need to go back. I have got the travel bug.
Have you?
It's a thing.
I like that. Where do you want to go to next?
But I just don't have money. So that's a problem.
Bit of a dilemma.
Which is where selling feet comes in
to
the equation. No, I haven't done it yet, but I want to. Do you think my feet are sellable? Do you think they will? What price would you put on my feet?
Go on then, show me.
I'll flip you a little.
Right here.
Yeah. Wow.
You might have to paint your toenails.
Yeah, they curve a little bit. My toes are really long and thin.
They are. You could definitely do some, I don't know, like picking things up with them or something.
That's disgusting.
You do actually have quite long toes, I would say.
I really
as
do.
Toes go, yeah.
Painting? Tash has got into painting recently.
I have.
Well, not recently. I mean, you did that painting. When was it? The one that's hanging up there. That's
this
beautiful.
One was ages ago.
Yeah.
I actually hate this now, because now that I've learned more about art, I'm like, this is so basic in comparison. Even the fact that
the colours are
I didn't paint
beautiful.
the edges is like pissing me off. But I've started learning. So I've been watching YouTube videos and stuff, and I've got some canvases, and I've just been
which I love. Are you doing a painting a day, or are you as and when inspiration strikes?
I am painting every day, but I'm not doing a painting a day.
Okay.
Because something I learned is that, which again, I guess if anyone who knows art would think this is so basic, but like, you are supposed to layer the paint, like, it's not just supposed to be like one layer of paint on a canvas.
Okay.
Like, you're supposed to like have a base layer and then do like a first layer and then like add accents and then maybe add more accents and then finalize, and it's like supposed to be like five layers, you know, 5 days of work. So I wasn't doing that before. This is literally a 1 day masterpiece. And like,
can they actually see it?
No.
Just okay, guys?
No, that's fine.
Picture like
a lot of color,
really pretty blues, pinks, bit of greens, bit of oranges. We got a few brush strokes. We got a few little dabs in there. Is that the right terminology? Probably not.
I don't know.
We've got some white space, which is quite effective.
Yeah.
But it's single layered, and you haven't painted the border.
I've not painted the border, which pisses me off.
Yeah, me too, because there's a little section there where you can see the paint is like
dribbled, and it just every time I look at it, it's like, oh god, I literally cannot stand it.
Like, that's. Don't you think it's really impressive? Like, I love that. I love that that's a trace of where it began for you.
Yeah.
Like, that was your start.
And if I could take it down, like, it's got command strips on the back. So if I could take it down, I would have repainted it by now. But the thing is, I'm going to have to take the command strips off the wall. And the idea of doing that is so off-putting to me. And we're moving out in like 6 weeks anyway. So
it's hardly worth it. Yeah,
it's not worth it. But I think I will probably, once I've taken it down for good, actually just paint over it and start again.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times with a few different paintings. But what I started doing is practicing techniques as well. So like, and these are all abstract techniques because I am abstract through and through. I'm never going to be a realist artist.
I like that though.
Ever.
Yeah, that's your style.
It is. Cool. And what I like is there's like two different kinds, I guess. There's like abstract that kind of blends into the background and adds a color accent to a room, and that tends to be like big brush strokes and like very like just like scribbly kind of design. This is just from me looking at it, I guess. And it can add like a pop of color to a room. And then there's also the kind of abstract where you can see something in the painting. So like, I made a painting for one of my friends, for example, and I just realized my bracelets are jiggling.
Can't wait for my painting.
Yeah, well, if you give me a wall, I'll paint one.
I have so many walls.
And, you know, I get to painting for one of my friends, and hers, it's very much like big washes of color and texture, because it's got like like sand in it to like give it like texture and make it like kind of 3D.
Thank you.
Really cool.
Nice.
And with hers, you can see different things in it. So like sometimes she'll send me a picture, she'll be like, oh, we've just found this. It's like, you know, a skeleton in it, or a ship, or this looks like a pterodactyl or whatever.
Yeah, so you draw your meaning from it, right? Or you draw your sort of interpretation of it.
Exactly. So it's like the big washes of color can mean that it could be multiple, a bit like a sky where you can see things in the clouds, you know? So it's like two different techniques that I like both of them very much. So I think I'm gonna probably base my style around those two.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, I'm getting this a lot on my Instagram algorithm at the moment. It's like those little adverts where they'll present a picture to you and they'll say, what you see in this photo says a lot about your like current mental state, and if you see an elephant it means something, and if you see a butterfly it means something else. And I'm just like, oh god, what if I see both?
What if I see it all?
What if I just don't see anything? Am I blind? But no, that's actually not to take away from it with humor. That is really cool, and I'm so proud of you, and like, to put yourself out there. I think I messaged you when you started the painting account, which I love, by the way.
Thank you.
I think it's just that acknowledgement. Like, it is hard to put your art out to people because inevitably you put yourself out there to be judged. People will judge. And whether you label it as a hobby or a passion or a career path, I've been through all of those stages with music. I'm circling back, I guess, to one of them. People will see that as a reflection of you because it's your expression, and that's a very vulnerable thing to do. But it's also super inspiring, and art creates art. Like, art does. You inspired me actually because you posted something a few days ago about like not worrying about being a perfectionist with it and just exploring it. And then I was kind of thinking, like, I had a couple of old songs that I had taken down from the platforms, but I loved the songs at the time. But in retrospect, like, listening to them, the sound quality is not as good. My writing has improved. My vocals have definitely improved. So they're kind of like a bit of a, they were my early works, and they're a bit more amateur hour, right? But then I read yours and I was like, actually, it's true. Like, that is what art is. Art is not just the perfectionist, like, filtered version of what we do. It's the actual raw, unfiltered, utterly unfiltered
fully unfiltered content.
Yeah. Do you see what I did? A play on our podcast name.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
art inspires art, and it does.
Yeah.
Art inspires art, and that is. It reminds us. I read a quote this morning. This is going to get very deep, guys.
I love it.
Sorry,
keep going.
Monday blues. But the opposite. It was something to do with like art is good for the soul because it reminds us that we have one. Mm-hmm. And it does because you interact with art so differently to everything else. It's like a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling interaction. It's not like a logical... Some people, I suppose, will go to galleries and critique like your brush strokes or whatever, but it's like a feel that captures you.
It is. And I think what I've realised as well is that, yes, somebody could go and critique a brushstroke, but actually a lot of the time, even a messy brushstroke is intentional. It's like sometimes, especially with abstract art, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It might look to you like it was just a squiggle on a page, but that squiggle was thought about and placed there intentionally to create a feeling or a vibe or to allow another colour in or to balance the painting in some way. So it's like actually... It's such a true case of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Like it truly is. Like you just cannot... I think my biggest issue before, and that's why I've never really got into anything creative, like arty at all. And I've never, even with like I cook and I bake and like I consider that to be a creative outlet, but I'm not someone who presents their food particularly well. Like I've always been a taster of presentation kind of person. And the reason being is that because of the whole concept of perfectionism, it doesn't agree with me. Like I don't like that. I know I can't achieve perfection, and therefore I perhaps don't even let myself even go close, you know?
Yeah.
But what I've realised through just like having fun with it and painting is that like I can actually create things that I really like and really enjoy. And just because somebody else can paint the most beautiful, realistic portrait of somebody doesn't mean that my attempt at some abstract art is any less worthy.
True.
Just because someone else can do it better. I think it's like so easy to compare yourself and be like, why bother? Because it's not going to be the best. It's like, why bother plating up this meal amazingly? Because
you just
it
wouldn't
doesn't
do
really matter.
anything.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do anything. You'd psych yourself out of everything. And maybe people don't relate to perfectionism too. I mean, we all do it, right? Like, I know one of our future topics is going to be like, I think it's like scrolling or like you're not sad, you're scrolling or whatever. And we all do that, and we all kind of admire people for their perfectly sort of positioned camera lens and their outfits and their obviously the sort of like filters that they've used and the teeth whitening tool on their app or whatever. But ultimately, we don't relate to that. No. That's why we probably feel pretty shit.
Yeah.
But we relate to this, the behind the scenes, the mistakes, the quirks, the human part, the human part of it.
Because that's the reality, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is why I think and I hope and I believe that AI will never take over fully. I know that they have AI generated art and music and whatever, but it's not, there's no human element to it. There's no feeling to it. And I'm hoping that we don't lose that sense of human connection.
I don't think we can, because I don't think we can relate as emotionally to something that wasn't created by a human being, and therefore you don't have the empathy level there.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes a song can give me goosebumps, not because I agree with the feeling, but because I can feel what the other person is feeling.
Yeah.
It's like you can't do that through an AI generated song because you can't even picture the person on the other side, you know?
No, it's true. There's you have no connection, because it's all about connection. Humans we're connective people, connection seeking. We like to connect. We do like to connect with each other.
I don't know what the word is.
It's there. I'm sure there's a word for it. Question: when you paint, do you ever find that you kind of channel this like flow, or that you kind of go into a bit more? Like, do you consciously position every brush stroke, or is part of it like feeling it, like being guided by the paint brush?
God, I hope I do get to that point.
Okay.
I have never actually. This is actually so depressing. But you know the concept of being in flow?
Yeah.
I've never had that in my life.
Okay.
I do not actually understand what that feels like. Even if I am baking or something, I'm never disconnected enough to feel like I am just existing in the thing. I do not know what that feeling feels like. I've read so many books about that concept of like, you know, on what should you do with your life type books, or work smarter, not harder type books, or like anything along those lines of like, finding a passion or putting the things that put you in flow as the top of your to-do list and prioritizing those first, and any of that stuff, or I do not know what that feels like. I can go on a run, I can go for a walk, a hike, all these things I enjoy. I'm completely disconnected.
You never detach.
I don't know what that feels like. So I hope one day I find it, but I actually don't know if perhaps that's just not something that I have. That concept doesn't work.
But I don't think it's intrinsic. I don't think it's intrinsic. I think it's external. I think the flow, or the concept of it, if I'm not mistaken, is your external, and it's you being able to take yourself away from yourself and be part of something bigger.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's like a lot of the time in like books and stuff, it's described as like they'll give examples. They'll be like, have you ever done something and then looked at the clock and realized 5 hours have gone past and you've not even realized? No, never in my life.
What about when you drink?
Like, well, I mean, maybe because I've
lost days.
But I'm checking my watch every 5 minutes, even if I'm out at the club. Like, and I love to dance. Like, there's literally nothing. There's nothing that has fully made me think to myself, I've not checked the clock in 3 hours because I've been so engrossed in this thing. Maybe binge watching something on TV.
Sure. Like, okay. The flow of Gilmore Girls.
The flow of Gilmore Girls. Yeah. So it's pretty a little bit depressing, but that concept is lost on me. Actually,
this is a Monday Blues podcast, but again, you can't lose something you never found. So I feel like, but I mean that in a hopeful sort of. It's there and you will tap into it. You're getting closer because you're finding things that you speak to you that you enjoy. You're finding it. You're finding your way to the flow.
Yeah, definitely. And I think perhaps part of it too is I think before I rarely committed to things. I would try things once and then I'd be like, cool, this isn't the one, next or whatever, because I couldn't find that state of flow in it, because I couldn't enjoy it enough to be like, I want to do this every day, or I could commit to this thing for 6 months, or I have felt like hours have gone by and it's really, whatever. Because I've never had that, I've never committed to something.
Sure.
But actually, now I'm just letting myself be like, well, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
That's when you find it, though.
Yeah.
It's when you let yourself not think or not search or not grovel for something.
Yeah.
That's actually when you find it. It's
I think that's
a
a
true
good point.
thing, isn't it? It's like, which we're not good at it as humans, I believe. Like, I went through, when I was taking my year out for music, I went through this thing of like, okay, I'm going to schedule time to write songs, and it's going to be from like 10 in the morning till, I don't know, 2 p.m. or whatever, and I'll have a lunch break here and I'll do this, and that is just not how art works. It just is not how art works. I did not find my flow when I was doing it that way. I have found a flow only in music.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I can only describe it as feeling like, okay, bear with, we're getting a bit spiritual here. I'm almost like a vessel, and I'm just a channel, and it's coming through me. Yeah. Like I will have songs that just come out.
Yeah.
They're just on a piece of paper.
You don't even know where the words have come from.
Yeah, literally, and the melody, and it's just worked.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And then you have the contrast of the really frustrating, like, I've got to sit and write a song, and I'm trying to force it out, and it's not going to be my best work. It's never my best work when it's like that. But I think I lost it. I definitely lost my flow over the last year, which is why 2024 was not my vibe.
Yeah.
I think I put too much pressure on it, and I was trying so hard with socials.
Yeah.
And life was busy. And only now, and then with the financial stress I need to do like function gigs to make money, but that's not where my like passion lies with it. So only now, ironically, that I've picked up a little bit of extra work and taken my foot off the gear a little bit with socials, am I starting to maybe find it again.
Yeah.
And it's one of those of like, it's really hard not to force something you love, but you gotta try not to force it, because it's just not conducive to the process.
I think that's a good point. And actually what you were saying there about like channeling, like that concept actually I have found before, but only with coaching.
Okay.
And that's like the only place I've ever had that particular feeling is when I was being a coach.
Yep.
I did feel like I was actually really good at it, but I don't actually know where any of the words came
how.
from,
Yeah.
or how it happened. It just kind of happened. But then for me, it was like everything outside of it I didn't like enough to ever actually commit to the full thing. Like it was like just. It just ruined it for me, having to do all the marketing and everything. So I was like, actually, TBA,
it does take something away from it.
Yeah,
because you're trying to then sell something which you should just be able to enjoy. Like, it's the enjoying the process where I think I need to get back to, as opposed to just enjoying maybe the few people that listen to it, right? It's doing something for the sake of doing and not for the sake of selling it. On that very inspirational note, should we talk about Monday Blues?
I don't know if we have time. We might have to do a second episode on how to be obsessed with your life, because we are I don't even know how far, but I feel like we've been recording for at least 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So,
ooh, yeah, it's because you had to go and tell us all about your little fun trip with the English rugby team.
I know, what can I say? So
to be fair, I would milk that. I would tell everyone about it. If it was the Springboks. Oh my god. Why do you think I watch rugby?
Yeah. Oh, because of the attractive rugby players. Yeah. To be fair, I actually didn't find any of them that attractive.
No, sometimes they're just a bit too like big and bulky. And,
yeah, and they all had like squished up ears.
Yeah, cauliflower ears.
Kind of gross, not gonna lie. Didn't really do it for me.
No, it's true. And their noses sometimes, because how many nose breakages.
Oh yeah, that's true as well. Like the sideways nose.
I don't know if there's any I don't find football as attractive just because I associate football with hooliganism. I know that's not fair, guys. I'm sorry if you are football fans. I know it's not fair, and I do respect the sport. I just don't. I just don't respect you. Wow, I mean, Tash said it. I respect you very much, actually, especially if you listen to this podcast. And I'm totally sucking up, but I am a bit of a suck up. We know this. Can I just mention one thing before we end this one? Oh, okay. I feel so heard.
I love it.
I went for skydiving for the first time.
Oh my god! Yeah. How have we not spoken about this?
I don't know. I forgot about it.
Oh my god!
When you interrupted me with all your stories, I was like,
how was it?
So good.
Oh.
Over Rottnest Island. It's the most beautiful thing. Very spur of the moment decision. I was on the ferry. My cousin said he always wanted to do it. And I was like, well, let's look. Let's see if there's any slots. Just for fun.
On the day?
On the day. As we were on the ferry to the island.
Oh my god.
And Sean, my cousin, was like, I think he was a little more like talk no action kind of vibes. So he was like, yeah, okay, look it up. And there was 2 slots left. I was like, Sean, this is fate. We've got to do it. So Sean did not do it. I did do it because I'm also competitive. I'm like, if there's like 1 slot left for something, it's got to be mine. Yeah. It's mine. So lo and behold, like all of a sudden, my auntie was shitting herself because now she's looking after me, right? She's like, your mother's going to be so angry with me. My mother was very angry with her. So I jumped out of a plane.
Fantastic.
Yeah, best thing ever.
Oh my god.
He let me fly it as well. A little bit, the parachute.
Crazy. Right? So cool. Oh my god, how are the views?
Stunning.
Yeah.
As you know, because you've been, right?
Yeah.
The free fall is like electrifying.
Yeah.
And that's the adrenaline part of it, right?
Yeah.
But then as soon as he pulls up the parachute and I've realized that I've survived.
It's so relaxing,
falling to the earth.
it? Yeah.
Then I was like, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's quiet, right? Like there's no one else in the world at that point in time other than you and the stranger on your back. Who was my friend by the end of it. We had a bonding experience. But I wasn't cold. People, that's the first thing everyone says to me is like, were you really cold? Because you're so high up, right?
I don't remember that.
But I don't, I mean, it was completely distracted.
I was wearing a whole suit.
Oh no, I was just in my shorts and my t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, I did go in winter, so maybe that's why. And
I
was in New Zealand, so it was cold out.
Cold.
Interesting.
So no, it was fascinating. And second best thing, okay, so it was just glowworms. Skydiving, swimming with dolphins.
Oh my god! There's so much more about this trip you have to tell us.
It gets better. Okay. This is like, okay. One of those things I'll never forget. Okay. The actual swimming with the dolphins, I didn't touch them. They didn't come close enough. But it was just in the open, it was in the open ocean. So on my auntie's neighbour's little boat. So it was really cool. So I got in, I had to hold on to the boat. The boat was anchored, but I was holding on because the tide was so strong.
Yeah.
So the dolphins were swimming just to keep up with us, and I was just stationary, holding on. And I only got one very good image of it. It was a bit disconcerting because the water was a bit murky. So I stuck my head under the water with my goggles and I saw it. I had one vivid sort of memory of seeing it underneath me. Really, really cool. But then at the end of it, right, and this was the highlight, was apparently dolphins, I learned this prior to the experience, will give each other or people seaweed as a gift. And I'm like, that is the coolest thing. I didn't know dolphins did that. Dolphins are also a little bit, they're a bit violent, but we ignore that. They give each other gifts of seaweed, which is the coolest thing, like bouquets of seaweed. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, cute. And then as I got out of the boat and we started leaving the side of the dolphin swims away, and I'm thinking, okay, cool, he's gone, or she, and comes back, throws its tail up, massive chunk of seaweed just hurtles in the air, lands maybe 5-6 meters away from the boat, and then it swims away.
Oh my god.
I can't give in seaweed.
That is so insane.
By a dolphin.
That is so insane.
Isn't that so insane? Like, roses are just not going to cut it from here on out. Like,
Oh
not that I
my
get
God.
roses, but... Right?
The dolphin fell in love with you.
It was... I mean... Yeah, basically it did. But it's like, that was unbelievable.
That is so
because
cute.
of that, like, human to animal connection.
Yeah.
That you can have a connection with something that is an animal that you'll never see again.
It's literally so crazy.
After 5 minutes or 10 minutes or however long we were there. Right?
Amazing.
There's
so many highlights.
And I
from
did
this.
not get eaten by a shark. Apparently there were sharks in the area, so that's fun.
Well, good thing you didn't get eaten by
No,
a shark.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. Shame. I would have preferred the dolphins to get eaten by the shark than me. I know we became besties, but sorry, survival instinct.
Just literally no loyalty
I'm
whatsoever.
sorry, would you have preferred me
You
to
might
get
have given
eaten?
me a bouquet of seaweed, but I'd rather you get eaten by the
Giving me a bouquet of seaweed does not mean that I will take a shark for you. Sorry.
I think that's probably fair, actually, now that I think
feel
about
like it's fair.
I won't guilt you too hard.
Okay, thanks. Great friend. Good friendship vibes.
Alrighty,
Okay,
well,
cool. So
I
that
think
was just 40, however many minutes of us chatting absolute nonsense.
pure catch-up. Good vibes for
hopefully-
January,
yeah,
guys.
hopefully
Good
you guys-
vibes.
So this was about Monday blues. I don't feel very blue. That's
No,
good.
well, I think we've cheered each other up
We'll
by
have
just
to do-
doing this episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've cheered you up as well by watching it.
Yeah.
And we will be back next week with How to Be Obsessed with Your Life. We will make sure we record that episode because actually we do have some very fun things to talk about. So
Yeah.
it's worthwhile doing it anyway, even though we didn't quite get to it today.
So what we're saying is, like, thank you for wasting nearly an hour of your life with us that you will never get back. We do appreciate it, and come back next time, because basically this would have been even more of a waste of time if you don't come back, because then you would have just spent
You didn't actually get to
your
find
time
out
with
how
us.
to be obsessed with
Exactly.
your life. And next week
And
you will.
What if it was the most profound advice you were to ever hear and you would never know?
I mean, every episode that we do is the most profound advice for you to
Of
hear.
course.
So therefore,
Wow.
you should come back every single
Wow.
week because we are very wise.
Yeah, we're not biased at all.
No, not at all.
No, like, cool. Thank you guys.
Thanks so much for
comment,
watching.
Subscribe.
Please don't
Appreciate
forget
it.
to like, subscribe, follow, download, and leave us a like or a comment or a 5-star review on Spotify or the App Store.
Ooh, a
Please,
cheeky
and
little
thank you.
5-star review. Also, don't get into any vans with any strangers.
Yes, very important. That
Good.
was bad advice from me.
But if you do, like, and you happen to stumble upon the England rugby team, good for you.
Then fair enough, you know?
Then it was worth the risk. Bye, guys.
Bye!